the more that entrepreneurs understood the business of private equity and venture capital, the better equipped they would be to build a business. Not because they have to sell, but because if you understand how money gets leveraged, you start to understand like, why did private equity firm A give you a slightly different deal than private equity firm B? Well, it's not because they both had different degrees from different universities. It probably has something to do with their view on where returns come from, what they promised the high net worth individuals that gave them the money that they're managing, things like that. And the more you understand that, the more you can kind of understand like, okay, this is why they want X or why that firm wants Y. And then you as the owner get to choose like what you really want to do. And I know it kind of sounds hand wavy and touchy feely, but I think if we started from the position of like, hey, you should understand how money works, that's cool. Then secondly, if we could overlay that with, let's just be honest with ourselves as entrepreneurs about what success looks like. Like I can tell you wholeheartedly that success to me in my 20s looked like money. How much money can I make? I think that success in my 30s was about power. Like I wanted to be like the big guy in my industry or whatever. And now in my 40s, I think success is about freedom, like this ability of like, I just want to spend time with my kids. I still want to build a great business, but I do want some guardrails. I want to spend time with my kids. I don't know what it'll look like in my 50s, but I know that very few people I meet actually can answer that question with one word. And until you can actually understand that one word, then it's like, what are we actually negotiating for? What's the point? I mean, it'd probably be easier for you and me to make a living in a cubicle somewhere.
My wife and I were just having that conversation the other day. I was talking about something else and she was like, yeah, it was something about some money in the business, what was going on with one of these consulting projects I was working on. I was like, you know what? I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm a smart freaking dude. I could go and work for some of these clients and make a ton of money with probably a lot less stress, and somebody else would be taking all of the risk. And I don't think practice owners really take that into consideration when they're starting a practice. Like when you own a practice, like the amount of risk is there. There's a built-in level of risk, and it is big. It's a large amount of risk. And if you're not clear on what success looks like for you, and not just monetarily, like you just said, like, I want to be able to cut out and, do whatever. Like on Thursdays, I want to go and I get home at 1, my wife goes and does whatever she's going to do. And I spend time with the kids, right? Or Wednesdays we go do jujitsu or something. Like I'm not tied to the clinic. And that's what success looked like for me when I first started it. But I knew that like from the beginning, that's why I was buying a practice. I was buying a practice because I knew that I did not want to be tied to a treatment table 8 hours a day. Many clinicians don't think about that. They think about, I want to treat the way that I want to treat. I want to deliver the care that I want to deliver the way I want to deliver it. I want to quote unquote do good for patients. And that is a good way to work yourself into a job that you feel trapped in.
And by the way, if that's truly what you want, then you have succeeded. But the issue is most people say one thing, but truly want something else. And that's the real tragedy, because then they look up and realize they've created a job for themselves that they can't sell, that they can't fire themselves from. And that's the real tragedy of the whole thing.
If you'd like to learn more about Strata PT and see how our EMR and RCM works, head over to stratapt.com to book a demo.